Shri Shri Ras Viharini Ju Ki Jai. First Kishori Seva Trust continues their reading of Shiksha Patr of Shri Hari Rai Ji, letter number 19 and verse number 3, day 52. Salvation Uncle Jai Shri Krishna. Verse 3. So rare is the devotee who is dedicated to Sri Acharyaji's lotus feet, who is devoid of hypocrisy and constantly engaged in serving Sri Krishna and contemplating his glories. Tika. What should be the nature of that pure devotee who is so hard to find? Their mind should be endlessly focused on Sri Acharyaji's lotus feet. They should be free of pride and hypocrisy and ready to serve Sri Krishna, constantly remembering his pastimes. They do not serve him to show off, and their mind is pure. Such a devotee is so hard to find in this age of struggle. Tika, verse 4. Now Sri Hari Rai Ji describes his lack of good association. I suffer a continual absence of good association, so my heart is always distressed. Tika, I can never find any good association, and so am distressed. I have not met a pure devotee. If I had, I would experience the bliss of devotion, but this is impossible without the company of such an accomplished devotee. Verse 5. My heart is full of pain which no one can remove, because in this whole earthly sphere I find nothing which can stop the devotees from crying. Tika 5. Sri Hari Rai Ji now very humbly recounts, I don't know why I have taken up residence on this earth. That lifetime in which surrender to Sri Krishna, the remover of all sorrow, is impossible, is a waste of time. In the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Prahaladji states, even in the youthful stage of life, an intelligent being passes their time in pursuit of true devotion. Birth as a human being is hard to achieve, and even then impermanent, and so once achieved should have some substantial meaning. Also in the 11th canto, Janakavideha states, birth as a human being is not easily attained, and even when attained lasts only for a little while. Amongst embodied souls, a true devotee of the Lord is very hard to find. So amongst all types of species on this earthly plane, the human body is the most difficult to attain and is the best. It is appropriate to develop surrender to the Lord even at a young age. After all, one can die at any time, and in one's dying last moments it is difficult to achieve anything, and maybe one will not again get the chance to be a human. The path of devotion and the sight of the Lord are extremely rare. If you can manage to rise to this stage during your lifetime, then you must do so. I have not done this, and so I regret my life in this body. It is as if I swapped a priceless jewel for a shell, and then bemoaned my loss of the jewel. Therefore, if you get a human birth and just squander it in worldly pursuits without surrendering to Sri Krishna, then you are wasting the privilege. I have not properly found my way to the Lord, and I regret this in my heart. Who will now help me to remove this grief from my heart? Verse 6. Now my residence in Vraja, my sight of Sri Yamunaji and knowledge of her form, my experience of the true form of Sri Govardhan Hill, and my sight of Sri Govardhan Nachi, all of these have become so distant from me. Tika, I have not succeeded in any way in taking shelter in Sri Krishna. I have not attained residence in his realm of Vraja, which is a most elevated place. It is where your surrender to Sri Krishna can develop, because he regards Vraja residents as his own and blesses them. In this way I have failed, and do not even have the sight of Sri Yamunaji. She is so powerful. Even if a rascal sips a few drops of her waters, she protects him from unfavourable retribution. If an embodied soul surrenders to her, she will reveal the Lord's pastimes to them, perfect all their actions, and give them a powerful body linked to the divine. I have not had this sight. I am also far from Sri Govardhan, the supreme mountain. By his grace, even the simple Bhil ladies who dwell in the forest were liberated by becoming devotees. I am so far removed from him, and also from the sight of Sri Krishna, the upholder of the Govardhan Hill. I am in another land. What should I do? It is taught that on whatsoever you meditate, that will come close to you. Therefore, summoning them to your heart with the power of your mind, now clearly see Vraja, Sri Yamunaji, Sri Giriraj, and Govardhan Nachi, and stop grieving. Verse 7. But I am plagued with sense distractions which damage my devotional sentiment for the Lord, and I live so far away from association and without association with true devotees. Tika 7. If your body is full of sensual cravings, then you are far removed from divine sentiment. If your heart is pure and you can go the whole day without engaging in worldly activities and attitudes, rather remembering the Lord and cherishing love for him, then you will be granted everything you need to go closer. I am pathetically sensual and far removed from divine love. Whilst I travel around and keep the company of worldly people, I rarely meet a true devotee, although I would love to in order to discuss divine matters. That is why I am so sad. I never get to hear the accounts of Sri Krishna's pastimes, and so my heart turns away from him. In this situation, I can only constantly chant, Sri Krishna is my refuge. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Tika 8. Accomplished devotees speak of the love-filled teachings of the Sri Bodhiniji, etc. Hearing these, one's heart becomes attuned to the way of worshipping through pure love. I am far from such devotee, and my loving heart becomes shadowed by contrary sentiments. Therefore I do no suitable practice, and I live in an unfavourable place. I can only take shelter in Sri Krishna. I am incapable of anything else but trying to surrender to his will. What else can I do? In the Sri Krishnashraya treatise Refuge in Sri Krishna, Sri Vallabhacharya has stated, I am totally devoid of wisdom, perseverance and devotion and other virtues. I am attached to sin, but I am humble. Sri Krishna alone is my refuge. I am indeed without adherence to the righteous path of wisdom, patience in devotion. I am full of bad qualities, but I am humble, and I am trying to surrender to Sri Krishna and take shelter in him alone. I am capable of no other practice, and therefore I resort to constantly and exclusively seeking refuge in my Lord. Verse 9. Who can predict what Sri Krishna, the ocean of grace, will do next? I have no clue, therefore I take shelter in Sri Vallabhacharya. Tika 9. I cannot know what Sri Krishna's next plan for me is. However, by the grace of Sri Vallabhacharya, I do know that Sri Krishna is an ocean of mercy and most certainly blesses his devotees. Therefore, I dedicate my mind to Sri Acharyaji's lotus feet, knowing that Sri Krishna will then bless me and perfect all my actions. An embodied soul who surrenders to Sri Acharyaji's lotus feet will find all their actions perfected. They will experience proximity to Vraja, Sri Yamunaji, Sri Giriraji, and Sri Swaminiji and all their pastimes. Those who do thus surrender will not experience such fruition. Therefore I most willingly offer my mind and heart at Sri Acharyaji's lotus feet. Verse 10. On a particular note, I received a letter from Premji which was replete with devotion and afforded some comfort to my heart. Tika. Premji's letter contains more advice about the healthy state of mind you can achieve when you surrender to Sri Acharyaji, and he then casts his grace-filled glance upon you. Thus concludes Letter 19, Aaj ke Anand ki Jai Ho. Tomorrow will be letter number 20 on day 53. Sab Vaishnavan ko Jai Shri Krishna, Shri Shri Ras Viharini Ju ki Jai, Sada Jai Ho, Sada Jai Ho, Shri Acharya Ji ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.